Welcome back. Welcome back to Chapter 2 of Sri Guru and His Grace. Initiation into Transcendental Science. Devotee, can you explain the real meaning of Diksha initiation? Sridhar Maharaj. Srila Jiva Goswami has explained in his Bhakti Sandarbha 868, experienced scholars have explained the meaning of Diksha, or spiritual initiation, in this way. Diksha is the process through which transcendental knowledge is imparted by the preceptor to the disciple. As a result, all the disciple's previous bad tendencies are crushed. Through Diksha, all previous commitments are cleared, and one gets the light of a new life in relationship with the Transcendental Lord. Diksha, or initiation, is a process by which we are given a noble connection with the Absolute Center, all at the same time. Our previous connections are all finished. It is an inner awakenment of life, thus brings divine knowledge. That wealth is there within us, but it is suppressed. Diksha means discovering one's inner wealth and getting relief from all outward obligations. With inner awakenment, the outer commitments vanish. Just as when you reach home, all other arrangements you have contracted for your comforts are all cut off. For at home, you'll find full comfort. When we're in a foreign land, we may seek the comforts which are supplied in hotels. But when we reach home, the hotel comforts are discarded. We find no more use for them. Sometimes a miner is kidnapped from home. Later, while visiting his native place, he may stay in a hotel. But if he suddenly finds his father's house and returns home, his parents will recognize him and say, "Oh, my son, you were stolen from us when you were young. We recognize your face. I am your mother. This is your father. Here is your sister." Then the hotel is no longer needed. In a similar way, with the inner awakenment of the soul, when we return back home, back to Godhead, we'll find our home, comfortable home with Krishna. So to make our connection with our real home and dispense with our outward links is known as Diksha. Mantra, the spiritual formula. Devotee, what is the difference between Shiksha or spiritual initiation and Diksha? Srila Maharaj. Diksha mainly involves initiation into the mantra, into the spiritual formula. Other instructions are necessary to substantiate it, to help it become effective. Certain activities are also helpful. These are all part and parcel of initiation. So a general direction is given by Diksha, but how to substantiate that, details are necessary. In Srimad Bhagavatam 7:5-23-24, it is said, hearing about Krishna, chanting Krishna's glories, remembering Krishna, serving Krishna's lotus feet, worshipping Krishna's transcendental form, offering prayers to Krishna, becoming Krishna's servant, considering Krishna as one's best friend, and surrendering everything to Krishna, these 9 processes are accepted as pure devotional service. All these things are advised. 1,000 details may be necessary. And hear it in the original, in this case, because I am not avoiding the Sanskrit and other words because of the difficulty, more that I don't want to butcher them, and also don't want to be unnecessarily long in this, because also comes with some of these words deeper meanings that when you do understand them. So Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu, Smaranam Parasevanam, Archanam Vandanam Dasyam, Shakyamatna Nivedanam, Iti Purum Shapita Vishnu, Bhaktischa Nava Lakshana. 1,000 details may be necessary. So, initiation, spiritual invasion. In a general if a general plans to invade another country, he must first chalk out his strategy of attack in a broad way. When he goes practically to execute his plan, so many obstacles appear, and he has to solve them and march on. If one plans to travel, he first conceives of the whole plan in a nutshell. From a foreign land, I will return home by this route. But to carry out this plan in practice, so many details are necessary. First, it is chalked out in a rough plan, and then he must practically do so many things. First, he must hire a taxi. He must go to the airport to purchase a ticket for the plane. In this way, so many details are required. So from partial knowledge, we have to develop final knowledge. This detailed knowledge is known as shiksha, devotee. What is the position of a devotee who, although not yet fully free from the influence of Maya, accepts disciples on the order of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his spiritual master? Srila Sridhara Maharaj answers, it is better that a man who begins business with small capital has a connection with a wealthier capitalist. Then he can prosper in his business. In a similar way, as long as one is not completely established in Krishna consciousness, he must have some connection with a superior aid. Then he will be safe. If we are to fight face to face with Maya, illusion, help from the higher agency should be our only resource. It is very difficult to control Maya. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, my illusory energy is impossible to overcome. Only one who surrenders to me can cross beyond it. Maya dreads only Krishna, for she has her backing from him. If you attempt to cross Maya alone, it will be impossible. You must have some higher connection. And with help of that connection, you can overcome illusion. Maya will withdraw only when she sees that you have the backing of higher potency. Alone, you cannot fight and gain victory over Maya. It is impossible. Let me come back. I just want to stop on that for a second and just reveal. I know some very smart people, very expanded, very wise people, and yet their wisdom doesn't encompass everything. Their wisdom and their efforts and courage are noble, but without complete wisdom, they're tinkering at best. We really ought to hear the Lord's words about that it is impossible to overcome without higher agency help. It may be more or less intense, but it is all Maya. Only when you really come in touch with the plane above Maya can you fight against Maya. Only then will Maya withdraw. You must have some shelter beyond Maya from when we can fight with illusion. We are advised to take shelter of sadhus, saints, and shastra, scriptures. Their help comes from above. We must accept that help from the inner core of our hearts. Accepting disciples and karma. Devotee. It seems that those who accept disciples have to undergo some physical difficulty or suffering because of accepting the karma of their disciples. Srila Sridhara Maharaj. Physical difficulty should not be considered, and physical success should also not be considered of much value. One should not think if a guru has a large number of disciples, he is great. One may voluntarily accept the responsibility of a spiritual life of so many disciples, but find that their improvement is not satisfactory. As a result, he may experience some disturbance. He may think, I have taken charge of their lives and I'm not able to give them the desired improvement of their spiritual life. That is a good symptom. The Vaishnavas have no trouble for themselves, but they have trouble for others. Paradukha dukhi. In this prayer, Sanatana Goswami Sanatana Goswami, Srila Raghunath Das Goswami writes that Sanatana Goswami was always distressed upon seeing the distress of others. A Vaishnava has no mental trouble for himself, but he feels mental trouble when he sees the pain of others. It is difficult for a Vaishnava to tolerate. They are always sympathetic to the miseries of others. This is a qualification of the intermediate devotee. He has no trouble of his own, but he is troubled by the pain of others. An intermediate devotee cannot ignore these things. The spiritual master will have to digest some of the responsibility of the bad and undesirable activities of the disciple. He has the responsibility of managing them by his instruction. When a doctor accepted a patient and the patient is in pain, the doctor may feel some trouble in his mind. I've taken charge of the patient. I cannot remove his difficulty. In this way, he may voluntarily feel some responsibility. The spiritual master may experience different kinds of suffering in different stages. Sometimes a guru may feel, I am doing as much as I can to help this disciple. Such a guru does not take so much responsibility for his disciple. He thinks, I'm doing my duty, and treats his disciples with this openness of mind. It is just in the case of the consulting physician and the family doctor. The family doctor cannot shake off the responsibility of his caring for his patients, but a doctor from outside may say, if you like, you can engage another doctor. The consulting physician is not so much earnest for the patient. He may feel, I am not perfect. I cannot make him pure immediately. Whether he improves is God's will. I can only do my best. From the beginning of their relationship, just as a doctor may approach his patient with his attitude, the guru may approach his disciples. The question of how much responsibility the guru takes for his disciple is a question of the attitude he takes towards his disciples in particular cases. Devotee. Does the disciple's advancement depend more on the guru or his own efforts? How will the disciple make proper advancement in following the principles of his guru? Srila Sridhara Maharaj. Well, that depends on the stages of realization of the disciple. Exclusive devotion must come from the disciple towards the guru. It is said in the Swetatara Upanishad, the key to success in spiritual life is unflinching devotion to both the spiritual master and Krishna. To those great souls who have full faith in both Krishna and the spiritual master, the inner meaning of the scriptures is fully revealed. The guru is Krishna's representative, and we are in search of divinity, and so we must try to concentrate our energy wherever we find a real connection with divinity. That is the key to success, because Krishna is all conscious. So the response to our devotional efforts will come from Krishna according to our attentiveness to him. He is everywhere. In the conception of infinite, everywhere there is center, and nowhere is there circumference. Meaning he's in the center of it all and nothing surrounds him. In every point, there may be a center. Prahlad Maharaj saw the center present everywhere. Hiranyakashipu asked him, is your God in this pillar? Prahlad Maharaj said, yes, he is there. And when Hiranyakashipu demolished the pillar, Lord Nrsimhadev came out. Guru, absolute and relative. Devotee, can you explain this concept of the absolute and relative position of the spiritual master? Srila Sridhara Maharaj. By the special will of Krishna, Gurudeva is a delegated power. If we look closely within the spiritual master, we will see the delegation of Krishna, and accordingly, we will accept him in that way. The spiritual master is a devotee of Krishna. And at the same time, the inspiration of Krishna is within him. These are the two aspects of Gurudeva. He has his aspect as a Vaishnava, and the inspired side of the Vaishnava is the Guru. On a fast day like Ekadashi, he himself does not take any grains. He conducts himself as a Vaishnava, but his disciples offer grains to the picture of their Guru on the altar. The disciples offer their spiritual master grains even on a fast day. The disciple is concerned with the delegation of the Lord, the Guru's inner self, his inspired side. The inspired side of a Vaishnava is Acharya, or Guru. The disciple marks only the special inspired portion within the Guru. He is more concerned with that part of his character. But Gurudeva himself generally poses as a Vaishnava. So his dealings towards his disciples and his dealings with other Vaishnavas will be different. This is Achintya Bheda Bheda, inconceivable unity in diversity. There may be imitation and there may be deviation. Both are possible. For ulterior motives, one may make trade of guruship. Just as in the case of the caste Goswamis and the Sahajya imitationists, for some reason or other, one may pose as a guru, but the symptoms of a real guru are given in the scriptures. Shabde paracha nishitang brahmani upashyashyayam. Bona fide spiritual master must be conversant with the conclusions of the Vedic literature, fixed in realization of the supreme truth. Srimad Bhagavatam 11.3.21. Scriptures need saints. Anyone can say, I am Guru. He is not Guru. Imitation is always possible, but the scriptures give the criterion for the selection of a real Guru. And the real Guru will extract the meaning of the scripture. Guru and Shastra are interdependent. One will help another for our edification. The scriptures say we must read the scriptures under the guidance of a proper professor, a Vaishnav Guru, Acharyavam Purusho Vedaha. So the scriptures are dependent on the spiritual master. And who is a spiritual master? The scriptures will explain. So they are independent. Sadhu and Shastra are both necessary. Interdependent. Sadhu and Shastra are both necessary. They are the active and the passive agents. Devotee, can you explain why Krishna appears in so many different gurus? Why must Krishna appear again and again? Can't we learn everything we need to know just by reading Bhagavad Gita? What is the need for constant revelation? Don't the old books contain all the truths we need to know? Srila Sridhara Maharaj, in Srimad Bhagavatam, Krishna says, first I transmitted Vedic knowledge to this world through Brahma. When that was entrusted to his disciples, the four Kumaras, Marichi, Angira, and the other sages, the knowledge was first invested in them and later in books. First, it was presented in the form of sound, not script. Gradually, it became fixed in writing. In the beginning, it descended directly through sound, from one man to another, from lip to ear. No script or reading was invented at that time, but knowledge was contained in the form of sound, passing through the ear to the mouth and again to the ear of another. Gradually, it became lost. In connection with the mediator, sometimes it becomes lost and disfigured, distorted, and then again, the Lord feels the necessity of appearing in this world. Yada yada hidamasya. Sometimes Krishna comes himself, and sometimes he sends a normal thinking man to reinstate the standard of true religion. Krishna says, this karma yoga that I have spoken to you, Arjuna, I spoke first to Surya, and from Surya it was passed down from generation to generation. And so it has become mutilated and disfigured. Again, I'm speaking that very same thing to you today. The enervating plane gradually erodes the truth. The truth is bright when it first appears, but gradually, with the constant contact of the enervating plane, it becomes weak, disfigured, and demoralized. And so Krishna appears from time to time to rejuvenate it and bring about a renaissance. Devotee, is there any difference between an acharya and a guru? Srila Sridhara Maharaj, guru and acharya are the same, but generally it may be said that an acharya does more extensive work. And also the acharya must have extensive knowledge of the scriptures, whereas the guru may not have expressly deep knowledge of scripture, but may have real knowledge of their purport. He may not be able to quote scripture extensively, but feels the meaning of the scriptures. He may be a guru, but an acharya is one who preaches widely and is able to extensively quote scriptural evidence. And this is a very big point for the Vaishnavas. So, marketplace of gurus. Devotee, there are so many imitation gurus in the guise of Vaishnavas who are simply out to cheat the innocent public. How can we know who's a real guru and who is a cheater? How do we know when we are being given real knowledge? How do we know we are being cheated? Srila Sridhara Maharaj, we have to find out what is the source of his knowledge. And this is the point of that. In the marketplace, there are many imitation gold, but if we are sure that of that gold we are purchasing is coming from a particular mine, we can buy it. And with the assurance that it has not been tampered with on the way. In that way, it can be understood by examining the source. Once here in India, Gandhi wanted to revive the Churka system of homespun cloth. In Churka system, the poor produce thread with a spinning wheel, and if everyone buys that cloth, called kadi, then the money goes to the pockets of the poor. But the Japanese and English cloth factories sent imitations, homespun, kadi here. They began manufacturing rough cloth imitating the ordinary homespun cloth produced here by the poor. Gandhi found himself perplexed. What is this? He said, my need is that the money goes to the poorest pockets, but now the capitalists are producing imitation rough cloth abroad, and that is being sold here in India. Instead of money going to the poor here in India, it's going to the foreign capitalists. Then he founded one association, the Kadi Association. He told his followers, you must purchase homespun cloth only from these shops who are connected with this association of mine. Then the money will surely go to the pockets of the poor. At that time, he said, this is Guru Parampara, the system of disciplic succession. Revealed truth coming uncontaminated through a particular process is Parampara. We must connect with the reliable succession. Only then can we get the genuine thing. The authorized association is necessary. Guru Parampara is necessary. So before we read anyone's book, we should try to find out who is this guru and from where is the substance coming down. It is only a facade or is a real substance within. If we can understand that he has a relationship with a genuine sadhu, then we can give some attention to him. I often give the example of the homeopathic globule. A mere globule itself has no medical value. The potency is within. An ordinary guru may give the mantra to his disciple, but what is the potency within the sound? What quality of conception or divine will is contained in that sound? That is all important. To get the mantra from Sadguru, genuine guru, means to get the internal good will and real conception about the Lord. The seed of a banyan tree may be a small seed, but the great big banyan tree will come from that seed. The will with which the particular sound is given by the Guru to the disciple is all important. We may not trace that at present, but in time, if a favorable environment is there, it will express itself and develop into something great. So when we go to purchase anything, we must be careful about imitations, or else we may be deceived. Chapter 3, the descent of the revealed truth. We are after the living mantra. Wherever we can trace the living tendency for a higher type of devotional service, we shall find that there is our Guru. One who has that sort of vision awakened will be able to recognize the Guru wherever he may appear. Hang about. There we go. So, chapter 3, descent of the revealed truth. Krishna consciousness, the spiritual conception of the highest level, descends by flowing down from one level to the next. Just as from the peak of a mountain, the Ganges flows in a zigzag way from one peak to another, sometimes the water of the Ganges mixes with the current of the river Saraswati. The water is not to be considered Ganges water. When the water of the Saraswati joins the current of the Ganges, it is considered to be the Ganges water. When the two rivers meet, the water that flows away from the Ganges is not the Ganges, but when the Saraswati waters enter into the current of the Ganges, it becomes the Ganges. That water will purify us, whatever its point of origin may have been. There is a saying that whenever water is deep within the current of the Ganges riverbed is the real Ganges water. That water will purify us, whatever its point of origin may have been. The purifying potency of the water has nothing to do with the water we can feel and see. What can we see with our physical eyes? The current of the Ganges is pure. When the spirit and sanction is there, it is a living thing and can purify everyone. Dead mantras. So, the very gist of the Guru Parampara, the disciplic succession, is shiksha, the teaching, the spiritual teaching. And whenever it is to be traced, there is Guru. One who has the transcendental eye, the divine eye, will recognize the Guru wherever he appears. One who possesses knowledge of absolute divine love and purity, he is Guru. Otherwise, the Guru Parampara is only a body Parampara, a succession of bodies. Then this caste Brahmanas, the caste Goswamis, will continue with their trade because body after body they are getting the mantra. But the mantra is dead. We are after living mantra. And whenever we can trace the living tendency of a higher type of devotional service, we shall find that there is our Guru. One who has that sort of vision awakened will be able to recognize the Guru wherever he may appear. Initiation into mantra means to impart real knowledge and devotional sentiment from one to another. And that must be genuine. Nothing can be known about a homeopathic globule by an outer physical inspection, but the potency is within. So also within the mantra, the important thing is the type of thought or sentiment with which it is imparted through that sound. The impersonalists have got the same mantra and also chanting the holy names of Krishna, but that sort of name will vanish in the Brahmajyoti. They don't, and they won't be able to cross the Viraja, the river between the material and the spiritual worlds. Where the Mayavadis chant the name of Krishna, Bhaktivinoda Thakur says that his chanting of the name of Krishna is like a thunder to the holy body of Krishna. It does not produce any soothing effect. So, very important. We want to be pleasing. The Gaudiya Math, deals with reality, not with the frame. We are trying to understand what is what. And in the spiritual thought world, we are not enchanted or captured by the mere form. We are interested in the step-by-step development in spiritual thought. In his Upadeshamritam, Srila Rupa Goswami has said, out of many materialists, one may be a philosopher. Out of many philosophers, one may become liberated and take to devotional service. Out of many devotees, one may attain pure love of Krishna. He is the best of all. We are interested in understanding this gradation. What is the Viraja river? What is the spiritual sky, the planet of Lord Shiva, the Vaikuntha Loka worlds of Vishnu, Lord Rama's Ayodhya, and then Krishna in Dwarka, Mathura, and Vrindavan? We want to know the realistic view of the whole gradation of devotional thought. Krishna shows this gradation in Srimad Bhagavatam 11:14-15, where he says, neither Brahma nor Shiva nor Shankarshan of Vaikuntha nor Lakshmi's of fortune, the goddess of fortune, Lakshmi Devi, nor even my own self are as dear to me as you. You are my favorite Uddhava. We have to follow the spirit. Otherwise, after Janava Devi, the wife of Lord Nityananda, up to Bipin Goswami, from whom Bhaktivinoda Thakur took initiation, there are so many unknown lady gurus. Through them, the mantra came to Bipin Goswami, and from him to Bhaktivinoda Thakur received the mantra. We accept Bhaktivinoda Thakur, but should we count all those ladies in our disciplic succession? What was their realization? Slaves of the truth. We are slaves of the truth. We are beggars for the pure current of truth. That is constantly flowing, the current, the fresh current. We are not charmed by any formality. I will bow down my head whenever I find the river of nectar coming down to me. When one is conscious, the absolute truth is descending to him from the highest domain, he will think, I must surrender myself here. Mahaprabhu said to Ramananda Roy, wherever the truth appears, wherever the nectar of divine ecstasy descends, I shall offer myself as a slave. That is my direct concern. Whatever form it takes doesn't matter much. The form has some value, but if there isn't any conflict, the inner spirit of a thing should be given immense value over its external cover. Otherwise, if the spirit has gone away and the bodily connection gets the upper hand, our so-called spiritual life becomes sahaja, a cheap imitation. When we are conscious of the real substance of Krishna consciousness, the real wealth we are receiving from our spiritual master, then our spiritual life cannot be sahajism, imitationism. We must be aware enough to detect our guru's advice when we find it in another. One who is awake will see, here is my guru's advice. I find it here in this man. Somehow or other, it has come to me. How? I do not know. But I see my guru's characteristics, his dealings and behavior in this person. When we're able to recognize a thing for its intrinsic value, then wherever we find it, we cannot neglect it. There is an example of this. It's an instance regarding Aurobindo Ghosh of Pondicherry. He was the first leader of the anarchist party, practically the founder of the revolutionary movement in Bengal. In 1928, a case against him was proceeding in Calcutta High Court. Famous attorney Mr. Norton was in charge of the prosecution. Aurobindo had absconded, and when the case was going on, he was not anywhere to be found. Norton was concerned how to find him. Aurobindo's English was very good English. He'd been educated in England from childhood. He could speak English even better than many Englishmen. Norton began to search through different papers, magazines for Aurobindo's writing. Finally, he found Aurobindo's style of writing in the Amrit Bazar Patrika, a Bengali newspaper. Here is Mr. Ghosh, he said, the editor of the Amrita Bazar Patrika, Patrika, was summoned to the court to find out whether Aurobindo Ghosh had written the article. Norton examined him. "This is your paper? You must know who's written this article." "You are the editor?" "Yes, I know him." "Do you know this man, Aurobindo Ghosh?" "Yes, I know him. I consider him to be one of the greatest men in the world." "As the editor of this newspaper, do you know who wrote this article?" "Yes, I know." "Has Mr. Ghosh written this article?" "I won't say." Norton asked him, "Do you know what is the punishment?" "Yes, 6 months imprisonment." "You're ready for that?" "Yes, I'm ready for that." Holding up the newspaper article, Norton said, "Here is Mr. Ghosh. I rest my case." He saw Aurobindo in his writings in a similar way. He must see, "Here is my Gurudeva." Our spiritual master would also sometimes say, "One of his disciples who had departed, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, came to me, but I could not recognize him." Those whose divine vision is awakened are always seeing signs of divinity everywhere. One Krishna in many gurus. We must give the vision to recognize the presence of our guru's temperament. Mahaprabhu says, Madhavendra Purira Sambandha Dana Jani. When Mahaprabhu met the Sanadiya Brahmana, upon seeing his movements, he at once detected that this Brahmana must have some connection with Madhavendra Puri. He said, "Without his connection, I would never find such symptoms of transcendental ecstasy. It must be from Madhavendra Puri." So we must know Krishna consciousness in truth. It is said, Acharya mam vijayatam. The spiritual master is not to be differentiated. One thing in coming down from the Supreme Lord, so the oneness of continuity is not to be ignored. Guru can be here. Guru can be in another body also. The same teacher may come in different body to inspire us. He may come to give us new hope and higher education. The substance should always be given a higher value than the form. First, understand the degree of purity in Krishna consciousness. The followers of form are only imitationists. They want to only exploit Mahaprabhu and not serve him. They are our worst enemies. They are traitors. They have taken the garb of Mahaprabhu's sampradaya, and they are saying something bogus. This is cheap marketing. They are extensively selling, adulterating things very cheaply. They have no inner necessity to attain the purest thing. Ujjala Ragapata Gaurava Bonge. Although he was such an exalted Vaishnava, our Guru Maharaj never presented himself as a great devotee. He always used to say, "I am a servant of the Vaishnavas." That was his claim. And he would say, "The higher devotees are my Guru. They are so exalted. First come and practice all these things, and then you can hope to reach the goal." It is not so easy or so cheap. Out of many liberated persons, a pure devotee of the Lord is extremely rare. Koti mukta madhye dullabha eka Krishna bhakta. Krishna consciousness is an internal thing. And those who cannot see the internal truth will make much of the external cover. Right? Do we just praise the book, or do we know the substance? Do we come in contact with the substance? In praising the book, when you have knowledge of the substance, even that is glory. But to praise the book without any knowledge of the substance is cheap. It's just cheap. We do not support that. Rather, we are interested in the real spirit. All the opposing elements who are interested in externals cannot touch us. Dogs may bark, but the barking of a dog is of no importance because they make so much of the outer thing. They have no real purification of the heart to accept the pure thing, to discriminate what is purity, what is love of Godhead, prema, after which even Brahma and Mahadeva aspire. So, Chapter 4, the original Guru, also called Adi Guru, Adi meaning original. The original spiritual master is Nityananda Prabhu. He is the general representation of Guru in the spiritual world. He is the Guru Tattva principle of the four primary mellows of devotion, excluding the conjugal mellow. In Madhurya Ras, Baladev is represented as Nanda Manjari, the sister of Radharani. The position of Nityananda is greater than that of Baladev. Why? He is distributing prema, divine love. And what is prema? It is higher than all of the achievements. If one can give divine love, then all others must be subordinate to him. If Krishna is subordinate to Mahaprabhu, then of course Balaram is subordinate to Nityananda. They are similar. But when magnanimity is added, Balaram becomes Nityananda. That Balaram who can distribute divine love, who can perform that higher function, has come here as Nityananda. Our foundation must be solid and proper. Then the structure should be erected. Otherwise, the whole thing will go down. We can get a solid foundation from Nityananda Prabhu. And here's a picture. One day, Nityananda Prabhu came to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's house in Mayapur. Mahaprabhu's mother, Sachi Devi, and Vishnu Priya Devi, his wife, were also there, as well as other devotees. Suddenly, Nityananda arrived, quite naked. Mahaprabhu managed to give him some cloth, and perhaps he was concerned that the devotees might have some mixed conceptions about Nityananda Prabhu. So to prevent this, he asked Nityananda Prabhu for his kopin, his loincloth, and he tore it up and distributed it amongst the householders that were present, instructing them, keep this piece of loincloth as a kavacha, an amulet, to tie a piece of this thread on your arm or wear it around your neck. Please keep it with you. Then you will be able to achieve sense control very soon. Nityananda Prabhu has control of his senses to the extreme degree. He does not know anything of this world. His vairagya, indifference to the world of mundane transaction, is of such degree that he can appear naked amongst both male and female. So the grace of Nityananda Prabhu will construct a firm foundation for us. If there is a firm foundation, then we can build a great structure over it. If we have faith in Nityananda, then that faith will bear any amount of weight. It won't betray us. So Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada has laid stress amongst the Westerners on devotion to Nityananda. First, we must get his mercy, and then afterwards we can get the mercy of Radha Krishna. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu means Radha Krishna. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Radha Krishna Nahiyanya. First achieve the mercy of Nityananda Prabhu, and then Gauranga Mahaprabhu, and then Radha Govinda, Shri Radha Govinda. In these three stages, we must raise ourselves up. Devotee, how does one attain the mercy of Lord Nityananda? Good question. Srila Sridhara Maharaj responds, one who finds more inclination to serve Gauranga and his Dharma, his transcendental land, and his servants can get the mercy of Nityananda Prabhu. Nityananda is very kind to one who has some special tendency towards Gaura Lila. So, take the name of Gauranga. Nityananda Prabhu walked from the door to door in Bengal saying, take the name of Gauranga. I'll become your servant. You can purchase me if you only take the name of Gauranga. I'll be sold to you without any price or condition. That was his temperament. When Mahaprabhu was in Puri, he sent Nityananda Prabhu to Bengal. At that time, he said, without you, I don't find anyone who can spread the holy name of Krishna or devotion to Krishna in Bengal. They are engaged in tantric method and smriti. They make too much out of trifling things. They are puffed up, thinking they have finished all knowledge. So Bengal is a very hard field for preaching. Without you, no one will be able to awaken the masses. Separate yourself from the higher castes and approach the masses with the holy name of Krishna. You are the fittest person for this work. Nityananda Prabhu went to Bengal, but without trying to preach the glories of the holy names of Krishna, Nityananda began to preach the name Gauranga. Nityananda Prabhu found that there is some danger of thinking that Krishna's pastimes are very much akin to the mundane debauchery, lying and stealing of a degraded soul. Krishna's pastimes are of a highly confidential nature. It's very difficult for the masses to understand the purity of Krishna Leela. The mass mind cannot accept Krishna Leela as the highest attainment. So Nityananda Prabhu found it would be difficult to preach Krishna Leela, but he found it would be easy to preach Gaura Leela, where Krishna has come to distribute himself to the public with so much capital in his mind. Gauranga means a dynamo which wants to distribute Krishna, surcharged with the most magnanimous, intensified pity and kindness for the ordinary people, with the greatest affection for even the criminals. Nityananda Prabhu wanted to bring them in connection with Gauranga. For then Krishna Leela would automatically be within their fist. So he began to preach about Gauranga, not Radha Krishna, as commanded by Mahaprabhu. So Nityananda Prabhu says, Bhaja Gauranga, Kahi Gauranga, Laha Gauranga Nam, worship Gauranga, speak only of Gauranga, and chant the name of Gauranga. There is another instance of a relationship between Krishna and Balaram and Gaura Nityananda, which is described in the Chaitanya Bhagavat. Shachi Devi had a dream that Krishna and Balaram were sitting on a throne, and Nityananda was fighting with Balaram. Come down from the throne, it's no longer Dwapara Yuga. The age of Kali has come, and my master Gauranga must occupy the position on this throne. You come down. Balaram began to give some opposition. No, why should I come down? We have been sitting on this throne for such a long time. Nityananda Prabhu began forcibly taking him down, and Balaram submitted slightly. Nityananda Prabhu said, my master Gauranga wants to take this position now. The age for him has come, so Nityananda is very partial to Gauranga. He says, Krishna is far off, my Lord is Gauranga. So we must be very grateful to Nityananda Prabhu, for he is our Guru. And Guru's grace is so important that Raghunath Das Goswami says, Oh Radharani, I want your grace. Without you, I don't want Krishna separately. I never want Krishna without you. That should be the healthy attitude of a devotee. This has been explained by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur in his Guru Ashtakam. Yasya prasadam bhagava prasado, yasya prasadam nagita kutopi, jayanstuvam stasyastu shanjam, mande guru shri charanarvindam. I bow down to the lotus feet of Sri Gurudev. By his grace we achieve the grace of Krishna. Without his grace we are lost. Therefore, we should always meditate on Sri Gurudev and pray for his mercy. In this position of Sri Guru, by whose grace we can get everything, we can get the grace of Krishna, and without whose grace we have no other prospect. So in this way, we have reverence for he who has given us our first connection with Krishna consciousness. Guru is not a doll. On this point, I just wanted to come back to my Gurudeva once said to me, I have a number of my disciples who worship me as a picture on an altar, but they don't. We covered this before with the relative side. It's not to neglect, and we're about to just discuss that. It's not to neglect the person. Guru is not a doll, but at the same time we offer reverence to Gurudev, we must not conceive that the Guru is a doll, a lifeless figure, because we are familiar with that particular figure and accept that our Guru, we should not become misled. The important thing is what he says, his instructions. That is attracting our inner hearts. I am not this body. I am the inquirer. That thing which is satisfying me, drawing the inquirer to be to the inquired. I must try to locate the thing in him. I must not rely on material calculation. I am not this body. Who am I? The disciple. I am only this body, this figure, this color, this caste? Or am I this temperament, this scholarship, this intellectualism? No. I am he who has come to seek, who is the party within me, and who is the party in Guru. We must be fully awake to that. What is the inner thing? I have come for that. We must be aware and awake to our own interest. This is the relative principle and the absolute principle. We shall have to eliminate the form, ignore the form. We shall always have to keep the spirit. Otherwise, we become form worshippers, idol worshippers. Guru more than meets the eye. It is said, of course, that the connection with the spiritual master is eternal. Chak shudana diloye, janme janme Prabhu say. We must not identify our Guru with the appearance. We must perceive with our physical senses. Our inner identification of him will be clarified according to the growth of our vision. When our vision increases and takes shape from material to transcendental, his look will also change accordingly. A man is sometimes known most externally by his uniform, then by his body, then by his mind, then by his intelligence. As much as our eye will develop to see things rightly, what we are seeing will also change its face. Krishna says, Acharyam mam vijayan. Ultimately, it is I who am the Acharya. It is the function of divinity. And in different stages, there may be different forms. Different Acharyas may work at the same time. The knowledge, the ideal, the growing from subtle to gross, and the depth of the vision of the eye will disclose the different figures of the different acharyas. It will go in different rasas to the highest position by a gradual process of realization. Otherwise, our knowledge will be based on the material conception. And to force a material conception onto divinity is a crime. It is ignorance. It is erroneous. We have to free ourselves from the snare of identifying reality with the physical form to our senses. The eyes deceive us. They cannot give us proper form or color. The ears cannot give us the proper sound. The concrete reality is beyond the experience of our senses. So then what is that thing? Because we are in such a low position, we can gradually go there to the inner world only with the help of Guru. But how can we recognize our Guru? Sometimes in the winter he is wearing a particular dress, in the summer he wears another dress. If we're attached so much importance to the external dress, then what should we do? Should we think that the dress is indispensable to the body? The Guru may come to us in a particular body. Suppose the Guru appears as a young man, and he has become an old man, and the young form has grown into another form. How are we to recognize? How are we to differentiate? Again, in one birth, he may come in a particular body, and in another time appear in a different body. The same guru may appear differently at different times. How are we to recognize him? From the external consideration, we must go to the internal. If I am devoid of flesh and blood and I only exist in a subtle body, then I shall also find my guru there, in a subtle body. The demigods, Gandharvas, and Siddhas, the perfected beings in the heavenly planets, also have their gurus, but they do not have a material body, nor does their guru have a material body. So by eliminating the external conception, we have to enter into the internal. That will be all important to the progressive disciple. That does not mean that one should disregard the physical form of our guru, but the real importance is within. We must worship the remnants of the guru, his coat, his boot, his sandal. But that does not mean that his shoe is superior to his body. We must serve his person in a similar way. If we are eager to do some physical service for him, if we want to massage his feet, he does not desire that. And he says, no, we should not do that. Our internal obedience to him will be higher. In this way, we have to make progress from the gross to the subtle. Who is Guru? Where is he to be located? And what is his ideal? What does he really want me to do? These things must not be dismissed from our ears. We must give only formal adherence. Sorry, I'm not reading this right. I'm a little distracted. We must not give only formal adherence. We want the spiritual way. The spiritual man is going to the spiritual world to have the spiritual realization. It is all a spiritual transaction, and all conceptions of mundane, whether physical or mental or intellectual, should be eliminated in our journey if we want to go to the inner world of substance. Progress, elimination, and acceptance. This attitude will decide our real progress, our real design of life. Our fulfillment comes from the inner side. If one can catch up that thread, then he can go and get things of that higher spiritual quality. We may appreciate the beautiful figure, style, movement, and intellectual delivery of the spiritual master, and so many other things may be appreciable. But we should be of the highest focal point of our But what should be the highest focal point of our realization? What should be our highest aim for the point of our realization, for which we shall eliminate everything else? Progress means elimination and acceptance. So we've heard of neti. So this is elimination, but we actually have to accept the positive as well, or else we're just left vacant, and that doesn't help us much. So progress means elimination and acceptance. And our spiritual life must always be a dynamic thing. Otherwise, we should be dead. Progress means acceptance and elimination. The scientists also say this in their theory of natural selection, survival of the fittest. Nature is selecting some and eliminating others. Life is dynamic. We are living in a dynamic world. Everywhere we find acceptance and elimination, that is progress. And our life must be progressive, not static. To get the grace of Nityananda Prabhu, we should try as far as possible to study the character of Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu, to serve him, to serve his Dharma and his devotees. That will easily help us to attain the grace of Nityananda Prabhu. There will always be so many practical dealings in our present stage, but we must always keep the highest ideal over our heads. And with this ideal, we should be able to make progress. Our ideal, our highest model, That is our all in all in life. To be acquainted with the conception of the highest ideal and to be on the path of realization of that goal is the greatest wealth in one's life. Srila Raghunath Das Goswami prays, I only aspire after one thing. I cherish the hope that one day I may be welcomed into the plane where Radhika and Madhava are in their glory, sitting and playing. And that should be our prospect. This is found in Raghunath Das Goswami's prayer to his Guru. He says, I'm fully indebted to Sri Gurudev. Why? He has given me so many things. He has given me the highest conception of the holy name of Krishna, the highest form of sound, which contains the highest form of thought, aspiration, ideal, everything. And next, he's given me the mantra. The name is there within the mantra. Without the name, the mantra is nothing. If the name of Krishna is withdrawn and replaced with another name, the mantra will give the opposite result. The name of Krishna is all in all. And within the mantra, the name is couched in a particular way as a sort of prayer. And then he says, he has given me the service of that great Savior, the son of Mother Sachi, Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is like a golden mountain standing to show the direction of Krishna Lila. And Gurudev has brought me to the lotus feet of Mahaprabhu's most favorite personal assistant, Swarup Damodar, who is the representation of Lalita Devi, the most favorite friend of Radhika. Then he has brought me in connection with Sri Rupa, who has ordered me to distribute the highest kinds of devotional love, rasa. Vaidhi Bhakti, the worship of the Lord in awe and reverence, is of a lower order, but Raganuga Bhakti, spontaneous love, the heart's innermost dealings, was distributed through Srila Rupa Goswami. Mahaprabhu considered Sri Rupa the best to deal with Raganuga Bhakti. Das Goswami said, then, by his grace, I have achieved the association of Srila Sanatana Goswami, who adjusts our position in relation to Raganuga Bhakti. He explains the path of Vaidhi Bhakti and gives us Sambandha Gyan, the knowledge of what is what, a proper acquaintance with the environment. Then he says, Gurudev has given me Mathura Mandal, where Radha and Govinda have their pastimes, where the forests, hills, every creeper, shrub, and grain of sand, everyone is hearing the acquaintance of Radha Krishna Lila. And wherever I shall cast my glance, they will help me in remembrance of Radha and Govinda. I have received all these things from my Gurudev, Vrindavan, where the cows and the milkmen have their village constructed. I'm becoming acquainted with their association, their nature, and their feelings of love for Krishna. By the grace of Gurudev, I have become acquainted with Radha Kund, favorite place of Radha and Govinda for their pastimes, and this great Govardhan. And lastly, he has given me the hope that one day I can get the service of Shri Radhika and Madhava. I've been given all these assurances by my Gurudev, so I bow my head with all my respects to his lotus feet. So if we are conscious of all these spiritual matters, and then we think that we have approached our Gurudev properly, what is our Guru? What is his mission? It is filled with all these things. Devoid of that, what is our interest? Question. What is ISKCON? Devotee. There are so many missions about the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, ISKCON, but what should the real vision of ISKCON be? Srila Sridhara Maharaja. In this verse, Raghunath Das Goswami gives the real acquaintance of what is ISKCON. Nameshtreshtam manum api shachiputram atra swarupam. ISKCON must not deviate from this line. We have not come here to deceive ourselves, but to fulfill ourselves. ISKCON will fulfill everyone's inner demand and extending to the vegetables and stones, taking them to the feet of Mahaprabhu and the Goswamis. the village to village, everyone in every place should be hunted and approached. Take the name of Krishna, come under the flag of Mahaprabhu. This grand worldwide mission will thrive like anything. It will touch the heavens and cover the earth and other planets too. That is the aim of Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, and we understand and appreciate that. So I'll leave that and we'll come to chapter 5 next time. Thank you. Hope you're enjoying.